just a boy. Christmas brought so much joy. Couldn't wait for the presents and laughter. I couldn't sleep late at night, looking for Santa with lights. Those are the memories I still remember. Then I became a man, lost sight of who I am, but right in front of me was the answer. 'Cause on Christmas I feel joy, and I turn back to a boy. The answer is to stay young forever. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song.
Hello, Star Wars fans. You know, there's just 87 days until Christmas 2023. Oh, and boy, it's been a weird week for Santa this week. We'll get into some of that in a minute. But I've got my friends Jason Ward and Star Wars Meg with us today. Thanks for joining today, you guys. I'm super excited.
Pleasure's all yours.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Hey, so like Jason Ward, my computer said, nah, I don't want to do this live streaming stuff no more.
Best friends.
Yeah, we have computer problems at the same time. So I was supposed to have a technician here today to replace my motherboard in my computer because it'd be dead.
Wait, motherboard? That sounds woke. Kathleen Kennedy, ILM, whatever.
So that was supposed to happen. Well, the guy called. He's not coming till Tuesday, so I'm still on the laptop.
That's a big. Oh, I'm going to be a little bit late Tuesday from today.
Tuesday. Well, the thing is, like, I live in the middle of nowhereville, country, farmland, whatever.
Little country bumpkin.
Yeah, some Dell technician in India doesn't know the difference between Columbus, Ohio, Cleveland, or rural farmland. And they're like,
Right.
oh, look, we've got a motherboard right here in the warehouse. We'll just send the guy out tomorrow morning. That'll be great. The guy called me and he says, dude, like, you don't live. Like, yeah, I don't live nearby. It's going to be a drive. So he said, how about I see you Tuesday? It's okay. That's fine. But then I've got another fun complication. We're getting ready to go to Branson, Missouri. And I use my phone as the GPS and all that.
You print out MapQuest, you liar. We know you refuse to change.
No, I've got my Chevy wants $100 a year to keep your map working on your vehicle.
Oh,
I'm
right.
like, I ain't paying $100 when I got Google Maps right here on my phone.
Yeah.
You losers, not doing it.
Yeah. Well, you should fight them.
Plus, when I'm pulling the fifth wheel, the RV, I have to make sure that I have height clearance on different roads. So there's actually a map app that is good for RV.
Map app sounds like a Star Wars character.
Well, guess what else happened?
You're thinking of what's his name? Askak.
Yes. What you get me. You get me, man.
By the way, do you guys know he was actually in Ahsoka? I found this out. I was going through the Ahsoka.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious. I was going through the episode guides, and I was like, because it's like the Akbar thing. Very few fans actually caught Akbar in the last episode.
Was that actually Akbar? That was the whole thing. I saw it. I was like,
it was Akbar.
Oh, okay.
It was
I
Akbar.
don't know that it was.
I think Star Wars social media retweeted a guy who said it was.
Where's this poster? No, I'm kidding.
They couldn't get him to talk because of Tim Rose's relationship with Lucasfilm. So they didn't obviously use him. But I know for a fact it was Askak because in the Senator meeting at the start of the season with the holograms, the guy on the right is Askak. and he's on Wikipedia under appearances.
Okay.
Well, there you have it.
That's rad.
Yeah, I'm still not convinced it's Akbar because, like, you look at Akbar in the original trilogy.
Well, it is home one. It is home one.
He's got a bit of a beard kind of thing going on.
But Bespin Bulletin drove me crazy because he had the home one things on. He's like, I don't know if it's Ahsoka or that. I'm like, doesn't matter. Just say it's either. Everyone's going to, now nobody cares. But.
Well, this Akbar doesn't have the little growths underneath his chin, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But
they fall off after every mating season.
My phone, the little port there, it no worky no more.
Dude.
Can I just test Jason on something?
Mm-hmm.
How well do you know the prequels? Because you come out with like some nuggets of info sometimes that really impresses me. And like, I want to know if you know this. What was Arskak referred to in the prequels? He's not referred to by name, but he's referred to as something else.
Yeah, I'm bad at trivia, so I don't know. I do remember I remember that name was one of the first things to come up on StarWars.com. It was one of the first names revealed from it, and it was like a nothing reveal. It wasn't like, it was just like a sentence. And then I feel like it was in reference to somebody's wife or something weird as well. But what is it? What is he called in the show?
The representative from Malastare.
Okay.
Oh,
there we go.
The representative from Malastare is now recognized by the chair.
Yes. You know, that was when I knew a whole series of leaks was real. I've always said this when I heard the name Malastare. I was like, oh, that's so much better than what people were trying to come up with back then. And like, back in the day, I was like, Malastare, oh, that's real. George Lucas would write that. That's when I knew.
So I'm getting a new motherboard in my computer. And then instead of my Galaxy S20 Ultra, you look at that Christmas stuff right there. I'm getting an S23 or Galaxy 23. Getting a Galaxy.
Well, now we know how to hack you. Now we know all your vulnerabilities.
That's coming on Monday. So, so next week, new phone, new motherboard. I'll be back up and running before we head off to Branson, Missouri. So,
and then you're like, bye, computer, buy all my new stuff. Yeah. I'm going on vacation.
Yeah, and then yesterday, of course, I had to go. I had to cancel my show because my dad broke down doing Amish things again. And
Amish very nice.
I had to go pick him up. He's got to get a new transmission in his truck, so sucks for him, but also for me.
Yeah.
So
because now you're Uber. You're Santa Uber,
right? Yeah. And I have to go to wherever he is and wherever, and rescue him. All there's.
I like Robert St. Clair's comment.
There's another story that I'll have to tell you when I'm not live streaming.
Oh, okay.
It's a little TMI kind of information. So anyway, hey, we've got a story that came out this morning. At least I saw it. Meg, you covered it as well, about this fight scene that we haven't seen yet, right?
Yes. I've got some more info on it, but that's in tomorrow's video. It's up to you if you want to dive into those.
Let's we'll speculate a little bit about it, but it all comes back from before the writer strike, the WGA strike. This is months old, and she was doing an interview around Celebration, I think it was, and somebody asked her this question: what felt different doing Ahsoka versus the Mandalorian? And she says, what felt different? Well, that's a great question. I'll tell you one thing: the fight scene for sure, because we had 17 hours to kick out the fight scene between Rosario and herself in the Mandalorian, whereas with this time around we had days at it. Let's just say that. So somebody remembered, hey, there's this interview, and you know what? We haven't seen them fight yet. So that must mean they're going to fight in this last episode. And before we came on live, Jason reminded me, well, yeah, dude, we reported that a long time ago.
Well, we reported that she was going to fight with magic. And so when we get to the 6th episode, she hasn't fought with magic yet. Okay, there we go. There's that. You know what I
And
mean?
you know what else? She's
What's
not
that?
alone.
Mm-hmm. Who's she with?
Let's just say she's with twins.
Luke and Leia? Oh my
No.
god. Dolly Parton?
Basically, all right, I will say this. I will say, don't allow speculation of like some crazy thing like Vader or Maul to happen. It's not going to happen. But what Thrawn gets the Night Mothers to create, I think, is just as interesting.
Revan?
No, okay. So it's basically two Night Sisters created through magic, and
Uh-huh.
as far as I understand it, they are clones of Elsbeth, but they've got more like I can't remember that style of Japanese fight. They've got these Japanese outfits on.
Wait. So you're telling me that she like okay, so is this magic? Does she like clone? Does she use like magic to like, make multiples of herself show up?
Not Morgan, the Great Mothers,
The Great
on
Mothers.
behalf of Morgan Elsbeth.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I see.
It's like Ahsoka shows up, she gets ready to fight, and then these, similar to the Mandalorian Praetorians, they just come around the corner. In this case, there's two Night Sister type beings. I can't tell if the way it's worded, if they're literally Morgan Elsbeth clones, or
Mhm.
if they're Night Sisters of a different kind. Maybe they look like Asajj Ventress.
Hmm. So you think it's Ventress and Mother Talzin is what you're saying? I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you. But that's how this game works, Meg. When you say
how the
something
internet works.
and people are like, so does he have the armor on? Like, what? What are you talking about? They already did that. But
And also, Ezra Bridger is real. So there's theories going around saying that he's a fake Ezra. It's definitely Ezra.
what?
You
No,
know-
no, he's definitely fake. He's not real. He's a made up character in a made up universe.
There's Rob. Hold on, I'm writing this down. Good stuff. Meg said
That's George McFly.
Meg said it's confirmed we're getting Asajj Ventress clones coming to fight with Morgan Elsbeth. That's what I heard. No, it's just kidding.
Did you guys catch in the recent episode when Thrawn says, "I need your help, Great Mothers," and they do that spell to find Ahsoka? Did you notice that Morgan Elsbeth was mouthing the words?
Yes.
So it tells me that she's more powerful now. I think she spent time with them.
Wait. That is Morgan Elsbeth?
Jason.
Everyone's a clone.
Yeah, no. When the three Night Mothers are doing their stuff, she's over there like assisting. She's over there like I'm helping. I can help too.
Yeah, so that's what I was wondering. Is she helping? Like she's contributing like to the spell, or she's practicing because she's hearing them and she's repeating it to train herself.
I think she was just throwing in a little extra like mojo, you know? That was my reading of it.
She's
like if there had been if it had been the classic old times, there probably would have been a bunch around there with the three mains doing their thing, and then they would have just been blah blah blah. Oh, we're gonna float up in the air, magic with the K, you know,
right,
that kind of stuff.
Right. If there were 20 of them there, all of them would have been chanting the mantra as well.
Little cheer squad, you know,
reinforce the magic.
Yeah.
But so
that sounds like a Disney saying, reinforce the magic, you know. It does.
It does. I could totally hear it.
Stupid.
Right
It's
before
so
the
stupid.
fireworks display.
Yeah.
So she was mouthing, "I'm Bruce Green."
That's not wrong.
Yeah, I think there we go. What's the need for general audience appeal? I never had the impression Star Wars is super popular. Well known, yes, but wildly popular? Well, I don't know about that, Sam the Sham. When I was a kid, Star Wars like completely broke everything.
And then completely said peace, and we didn't, right? I mean, but that's where I think Sam's perspective on there, I don't think is that crazy, because it would be the biggest thing in the world, and then it would just literally disappear. And then be like, where'd it go? And then it's like, I'm there. And people are like, oh, you like Star Wars? Yeah, I saw that before. And then like Phantom Menace goes to come out, and then like everybody's like saving Pizza Hut boxes and stuff. You know what I mean? They're like, this is worth money someday. And then,
Well,
but everybody, it was crazy.
we just didn't know if we would ever get Star Wars again in our lives.
Yeah.
After the original trilogy, and it
Mhm.
goes dormant for a decade,
Yeah.
you're just assuming there's never going to be another Star Wars. We never had a promise of one. There was the Ewok movies. There were some lame cartoons that came out that were terrible.
I don't know what you're talking about. That was good Saturday morning.
Oh my goodness!
I don't know, Santa. I liked the Clone Wars.
No, way before that, my friend.
Oh yeah. No,
I know,
but that's why when both Clone Wars shows, both of them came out, they were treated by me, like this is a big deal. I told my girlfriend at the time, don't bother me. I'm doing something. You know what I mean? Though it was like really serious because it's like, oh, this is like, like when the Tartakovsky Clone Wars was shown theatrically the one time, I had to go and make sure I went because that might be the only time anything Star Wars ever happens, like until Revenge of the Sith again.
Yes.
It's like serious.
Well, I'm talking, back in the 90s, there was no Star Wars. The end.
Right.
None. Like, it was terrible. It was a long drought. And there was, I got in a little bit of a Twitter thing this morning because
that's always a bad sign. A Twitter thing.
Knucklehead, these knuckleheads are out there saying that George Lucas was involved with all of the books that were written. I'm like, he approved all of it. I'm like, he didn't approve jack. Like, he didn't do anything with those books.
Well, how it initially worked, we're talking see, this is where people can cherry pick their evidence, and then make a statement that is everlasting about everything. When they went to kick off the publishing initiative with Timothy Zahn, he is available. It does come through. He does pay attention, but as each new book comes out, it tapers off, and his interest and his paying attention. And then by a certain point, he's just resigned himself to it's crap, and he doesn't care. Do whatever you want, as long. And then it's like, oh, kill Chewbacca, kind of stuff. It's just like, so he comes in, but no, he's not sitting there. Oh, here we go. The Crystal Star. Oh yeah, good job, boys. And he closes it up and puts it on the, like, that's a ridiculous thing.
He's also not redlining stuff, right? He's not going through
no,
like whoever. Jason Ward wrote a new Star Wars novel, submitted it to Lucasfilm, and so he gets this stack of paper that they printed off on a dot matrix printer. And he's taking his red pen, he's going through there, reading, underlining stuff, circling stuff, putting notes into margins, and then signing off at the end. No.
It's a little like George Lucas's attitude is a little bit like when you are moving in with somebody who you don't know. You're getting like a roommate, and they're like, "This is my section of the fridge, and these are my cabinets, and these are yours." Okay, like that's what it was like. And then that's why there becomes a whole tier system of canon, and there's G canon, which means I'll just do whatever I want, and then there's what I don't remember what it was, S canon or whatever the EU was. It's but once again, this is the kind of stuff that people just think that they can cherry pick evidence instead of really contending with what was the climate like.
Well, Lucasfilm Publishing was trying to keep consistency across tiers. Right. So all the novels were supposed to tie together, be consistent, and not just be random works of literature that are adding to Star Wars universe.
Right.
So they were trying to keep all of this stuff. Like if Darth Revan was involved, he had to be the same Darth Revan that was, or Darth Plagueis was involved. It had to be the same. Like all these things. But that was maintained by Lucasfilm Publishing. Specifically, Leland Chee was involved with a lot of that stuff, and he oversaw it. And there's a point where you can see George even says, Leland manages that stuff. I don't know what the heck they're doing over there.
One time I walked into I think it was a celebration or D23, and Leland Chee's there, and I know who he is. I look at him, and I see him look at some other people and go, "That's him." To me. Yeah. I was like, uh-oh, I'm about to get into a Chee fight.
Yeah. So
he's coming for me.
I got into it with a guy this morning saying, because they were saying, why did George Lucas hate Mara Jade? And they said, well, blah, blah, blah. They went on with this tangent. And then part of the tangent I'm like, I'm staying out of this. These are knuckleheads. But in the chat along the way, somebody says, "Well, George Lucas was approving all of it," and I said, "Nope, you're wrong."
Once George Lucas was writing, directing, financing, and everything with the prequels, that's when he just sort of like totally checked out on that stuff. Like for the most part, that's when it wasn't like he was just chill George Lucas. And that whole thing that George Lucas hates Mara Jade. George Lucas doesn't hate Mara Jade. George Lucas hates that Luke Skywalker got married to her and banged out some kids with her, because that's not what the Jedi did. That's not how it was supposed to go. He was pretty clear about that. He made 3 films that outlined that that's not how that goes. So, Marcia Jade.
He couldn't let it go. He like, Marcia, no.
But you know, that's the and then George Lucas hated her so much, he even went and did like a skit with Seth Green about it, because it's a joke. It's not that serious.
Hey, Garth Knight with a $5 super chat, coming back in on the super chat he left on your live stream yesterday, I believe. It's the same basic question, I think. It says, I've amended the geography of my 2 Lucasfilm campus idea. Bay Area plus Georgia are the locations.
I had Kansas. Kansas yesterday.
And Filoni produce in the Bay, and Feige in Georgia. Oh, so made in Georgia, right? You've seen that with the Georgia peach.
That little Georgia peach. Garth, you're our little Georgia peach.
So making them in Atlanta and making them in the Bay Area. And if let's put this theory out there, if they were going to split Lucasfilm into 2 entities, 2 publishing companies, entirely different studios, if they were going to split, it would not be 2 U.S. based. You would have a U.S. based one in Los Angeles. You would have another one that would be based entirely out of
Pinewood.
Pinewood.
Pinewood-ish.
You have one in Pinewood in UK, and you'd have in England, and you'd have another in Los Angeles. That'd be how they would do it.
Or Kathleen Kennedy would do the one in San Francisco, and then Frank Marshall would do the one in Georgia, and there would be like Star Wars men and Star Wars girls with a Z at the end.
Right. They're not gonna. Yeah. So it has to make. No. Who was it? There's a question that he's posted. Anthony's posted in here about the Ewoks, and we're going way off tangent from the news. So Anthony, I don't want to go like down the path of just random questions, but
shut up, Anthony.
No,
I got it. Sam. I'll put Anthony in his place.
Why is there a misconception about Ewoks when it comes to the general Star Wars audience? They think the race is not really a threat, and they call them space teddy bears. Look, because they're little carpet bears that you can see they're wearing these fake suits. And,
what are you talking about? They blink, friend. They blink.
Right. So
you sound crazy.
When you watch it, you see these small little teddy bears running around. You're like, they're not really a threat. Now, given they are, they will roast you alive over a spit and then wear your clothes. So I mean,
they play drums with your head.
Yeah. So it's that kind of thing. But anyway,
what it is it's a bunch of people who all had Care Bears, and now they're embarrassed by it, and they're transferring that onto Star Wars. It's not fair. It's not right.
Yeah. The fight. Let's get back to the Morgan Elsbeth. Let's get back to the story.
All right.
About this fight that's coming up. There's a couple of things I'd like to just bring up with it. Mm-hmm. Not only do we have the story that you reported a long time ago, Jason, that she's going to be using Night Sister magic in this fight, but I want to talk about Baylan for a moment. Because Baylan kind of went AWOL on Thrawn in this last episode, didn't he?
I think I know where you're going with this. I think
Baylan's out. right?
Yeah.
There's he's got his own agenda. He's got his own thing. And when Ahsoka ends up going to confront Thrawn, presumably, I don't know. There's going to be Morgan Elsbeth is going to stand in instead of Balin. He said, "Hey, I need you to contribute because we don't have Lord Balin. Lord Skull isn't here anymore. What's up?" So, what do you
Count Dooku the Second?
I've heard some speculation. He's bailing out. I've heard some speculation. Somebody gonna die. And there's
he originally didn't die.
Who? What?
Balin originally didn't die.
No, I don't think he's gonna die.
But I mean, considering what's happened,
yeah.
Well, what if he just pieces out?
Well, there's a couple things going on
in
here,
the edit.
Like they shot what they shot.
Yeah,
and
shot what they shot.
I don't think they went back and did any reshoots after Rey passed.
Yeah, no, they couldn't. It was he died during this. Didn't he die like as the strike was about to break?
I had to look it up.
I think. I mean, and then, but also like I remember he died, and we were like, oh, they can't rewrite anything. It was like when he passed, it was like it was
too late. Like
his hands and tied.
Already, it was well into post prod. So if they did anything, it would have had to been post prod like editing, where you just don't include his scenes.
Yeah,
that's one option, and you just leave his character written out somehow, because you're not going to have a scene where he dies. That doesn't exist. That scene wasn't shot, so it's not like they can substitute it in.
And the writers, the actors, and the directors were all striking at various points where you can't even decide one of those things could mean we did a pickup where he gets shot. It doesn't seem like that would be possible for most of this whole thing,
right?
Because he couldn't write it. That would be writing.
Exactly. So I don't think that there's a scenario in which Balin dies at all. It just doesn't exist. That content doesn't exist, so they couldn't create it. So all they would have to do is just write him out, which would be a travesty, right? It would be terrible.
I would rather they recast the character, but that did it when I saw him go like, "Hey Shin, go take your place in the Empire. Someone else is calling me." I was like, "Ooh, that is an edit point right there where you could just forget about the character after that." I mean, realistically,
how terrible would it be to take one of the Ray Stevenson's content that he did before he passed and just get rid of it?
Yeah, I like Rob suggested. I think they get what's his name, Clancy Brown, have him grow the beard, put him in the costume, and you know what I mean? Just like that would be an option, I think.
Yeah,
it's confusing because he put another character, but that character he did play is in like one shot. He's in one sequence, and it's corny, and so that's what I would do if I were them. But
yeah, I think so too. Ian, I think that somebody said, have they done it in memory text for him yet? I think they did a
first episode.
Ray.
Yeah, they said for our friend
Ray. Yeah.
But I also will suggest that they might just, put the whole thing in as was intended, and then do what they did with Cara Dune, explain it.
Yeah.
In the next season.
There could be that. I think you might be right. But recasting would be my preference. If you had a preference, would you recast him or write him out?
Recast.
Jason?
Yeah. Recast. I mean, Star Wars and continuity is obviously a priority, but it's just we got to be real. It's still a Hollywood production. You know what I mean? People pass, and then you have to recast. I mean, I'm not even. I mean, at this point, turned off by the digital characters. I would be okay with them recasting everybody.
Look,
doing it as long as they do it, as long as they do the casting well, and they get people locked in. I don't like the page. I would be afraid of Pedro Pascal playing a hero in Poe Dameron or something later on, and he's like, "Oh, sorry, I'm famous now, can't do your Star Wars." So I hope they get him locked in, but yeah, just recast.
There was a thing that went around a while back ago. Who was it? Every time they talked about recasting somebody, they always use the same guy's name.
Sebastian Stan?
No.
Oh.
It became a joke. Danny DeVito was one, right? Like anytime anybody they say, "Oh, recast Danny DeVito." There was another guy, a black guy, kind of thin dude. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Magic Johnson.
No. somebody in the chat will know. Somebody in the chat will know.
Barack Obama.
Barack Obama.
Inevitably, somebody will say Idris Elba.
Yeah, well, I mean, why not? But
yeah,
Danny DeVito. Let's just go with Danny DeVito. That'll work. We're gonna recast Balin with Danny DeVito. Here. Yeah,
there we go. Little Lord Balin.
Nobody will notice. It'll be just the same.
Use like CGI and have like a moment where he takes off the cape, and then you see he was a little guy on another little guy's shoulders, and he jumps down.
Perfect.
And then he's like, "Finally, I could be myself."
Now there are two of them, and they're twins. Yeah,
Rhea Perlman plays the other one.
No, the question then becomes, well, all I have to bring up is Mon Mothma, right?
Yeah,
Mon Mothma. Two Mon Mothmas in Star Wars live action. We can have two Balins.
Now we're talking two Mon Mothmas at the same time.
No.
Oh, okay.
Gerard Butler is the one that I hear people talk about a lot, and he's perfect. He's absolutely perfect.
Oh, for Balin, yeah. I know. It's weird. I honestly just like I don't think the person needs to be a physical match, you know. So when I hear that, I'm like, yeah. But people think he looks like him. I personally don't think he looks like him.
Danny
DeVito. But I think Gerard Butler would be great in the role. Either way, you cut it. So that's why I'm like, I don't think it needs to be a perfect match physically necessarily. But you want the general characteristics, but it'd be fine. Yeah, he would do a good job. But I also don't know if he would do a Disney Plus show. I don't know. Gerard Butler's kind of in that weird. He's in that weird in between place. I don't think his Hollywood career is necessarily like in any way stalled or anything like that. So I'm not sure if he would do it. But maybe because it's going to go to film, he would.
Go back to the original Palpatine. There you go. You guys know this, right?
That was a chimp. Yeah, that was the chimpanzee eyes and everything.
Yeah.
That one.
So if somebody dies, well, first let's finish the Balin thing. Okay. From what I understand with Balin, his story is set up to continue as we move forward.
Yeah.
And Jason, I think you mentioned the other day we were chatting in DMs that you reported that we're going to learn more about what's going on with him at some point.
Yeah. They're like I said, there's like three clear, and the show has only reinforced it that there's like going to be three clear cut wants out of all of this. I did start to go because when you get to like the very end of something, though, you start going like, okay, how's it going to go? And then you start wondering like, oh, did I misinterpret something and all that stuff? I'm like, what if Balin's the one who's left behind? Is where my head was going because I kept on the conversations kept thinking it was going to be Ahsoka was the one who makes it back, and then it was going to be like a trade. But I was like, oh, what if Balin stays behind? But
I think he could stay behind, but I think that doesn't exclude. I think that what I understand, at least from things I've read and seen, is that it's Ahsoka and or Sabine that are going to stay behind.
Yeah. That was my interpretation of
what
that.
I understand as well.
Yeah.
But it also says Balin, peace out, right?
But he did put his little space daughter in a place where she could come back and get him later on. She could just steal that ship and come back and get him, and he could do what he could go steal that power or whatever he's on about. That holy grail of Star Wars.
What is it that keeps that? And I'm going to go back. I think it was aggressively relaxing, or that somebody put in it.
Still the best name in all of YouTube.
He's great. He's great. about, where was it? I got to go back. That it would be the Zepho or something like that are going to be the power that he was after, right?
Yeah.
It could be. I think the Zepho are set up big time for the Mandoverse somewhere. I don't know. It seems like it could happen here. It'd be a bit of a weird time to bring the Zepho in just out of nowhere. But
the thing about the Zepho is you haven't finished the Fallen Order trilogy yet, and the Zepho could be in that third chapter, so they may be kind of off limits other than some superficial references. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's what it is. And fans are not going to like this.
Yeah.
And it's so much simpler than all the theories. It's related to Palpatine.
Mm-hmm.
How so?
It's related to Exegol. It's related to Palpatine's life essence, which was in the books. I can see them going the simplest route for casual audiences, and with Sabine saying people say Palpatine's dead, leaving it kind of open-ended, I can't help but feel they're tying this in that way, because the Zepho is just so beyond what your casual audience is aware of.
Like so I thought about that a lot, right? About what you've said, and there's like a couple of weird things about it. If they go that way, if this ends up having anything to do with Snoke or Palpatine, is that it from Thrawn's perspective? If he wanted to resurrect Palpatine, then he's taking witches to the guy who wiped them out. The witches aren't going to do it. They're like, nah, we're out. We're not gonna help you. So the witches are off the table. Then Balin, why would he want to resurrect Palpatine, even if he is evil, even if he is a bad guy? I mean, that would still be his enemy. Yeah, I would think it would be his enemy. He would still not like Palpatine either way.
And let's go back to
because I think it goes back to what the Night Mothers want, because they might be very aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
But what they want, what they're being promised, their end of the deal, is life, Night Sisters and Night Brothers back on Dathomir. Mm-hmm. And just like in the expanded universe, when the Noghri eventually turn on Thrawn, they're going to do the same, but they need him right now.
Is that explicitly stated though? I mean, because I'm not arguing that it's not, but what was it? Because if it was, I kind of missed.
No, it wasn't. Just theorizing.
Yeah. I mean, they obviously like want something in this new order, right? And then I'm with you in the sense that that would be natural, like that's what it is. But because in my mind, I think Balin's after immortality.
Well, I'll go back to what Balin said. Right, he said that as you get older, you realize that there's been a cycle of the empire rises, the empire falls. There's this rise and fall, happens over and over again. I'm here to find the beginning of it and put an end to all of it, right? Palpatine was the rise of the empire. It's not, I don't think it's Palpatine at all. I think it's something precedes Palpatine by a great distance. So the Zepho makes sense. And I still stick with the wills themselves being what he's after. And I saw a video yesterday from Heavy Spoilers where they talked about an energy source of the Force itself along those kind of lines, be it a holocron or something of that nature that gives this imbues all this power. So it could be something like that. I don't think it's Palpatine. I think it far precedes Palpatine ever existing.
My thing is we have these people, they have a power there that we don't necessarily see elsewhere other than there. It's the power of immortality. We're going to see it for sure. It's going to be a thing. I've been reporting this for like a year. You know what I mean? That this is where this is all going. We got the Threads of Destiny. The witches are able to use that power. We saw them use it on Dathomir, but this is where they come from. So my detective sense says that if that's what Balin's after, that power for himself. And then what would that mean? That would mean you could resurrect any order. You could resurrect the Jedi. You could resurrect his master if that's what his goal. Like what we don't know what he wants, but whatever it happens to be, Anakin goes to the dark side because he wants to save his wife and child from dying. He wants immortality, the ability to control like fate. And then we had this thing called the Threads of Destiny. Oh, that's gonna be really sexy to an Anakin Skywalker type, you know?
You do realize, though, Jason, what you just said is very true, and it's got me thinking about a different possibility.
Mhm.
It could be what Darth Plagueis was promising Palpatine and what Palpatine promised Vader.
That's what I'm thinking exactly. And
it could be literally Tor Valum, the thing they didn't use in the Rise of Skywalker, that spider-like guy.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think you're wrong. But anyway, because he wants to put it in.
And somebody else pointed out that the Bendu is a rock back.
Okay.
No.
Yes.
Where did he come from?
From well,
Are you saying he was a turtle?
He might have come from that planet because he matches the ecosystem of the turtle people, of the hermit crab people.
Does he?
Well, kind of. I mean, if you have a planet of people that where their creatures have like rock backs and that they come out, like Bendu might be from there. I mean, we're theorizing, and that makes a lot more sense than anything that I usually hear on this show. I'm just going to be honest with you. Zepho, the Zepho are dead.
Zepho. Who are the Zepho? The Zepho are an ancient species that use the Force. And some of them very, very, very powerful. So it could be something like that, right?
Yeah. It's like in the Fallen Order games, they're like a long dead. Like it's like what ancient Egypt is to us, it is to the main characters in the Fallen Order games.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking that could be sort of deal. I don't
know. I want to trigger Santa just with one quick theory.
Yeah, do it.
So get this. So Balin's like in the wilderness in the next episode, and he's like, you hear these winds and rushing whispers, and he's like trying to find the source of it.
Yeah.
And then he turns around, and there's a bald guy with a purple lightsaber.
Ooh.
Hey, Mace Windu, let's do it.
And then Balin turns around. He's like, Master Windu.
And then he's like, no, it's Amisa. He's like, what? Jar Jar has a purple lightsaber now? Oh, okay.
You guys.
Sorry.
So, no, he wants to put it into the cycle of rise and fall, rise and fall. None of what anybody has said makes sense when it ties to stopping the cycle of rise and fall, rise and fall. So what? He gets eternal power. How does that, life? How does that stop the rise and fall, rise and fall?
Because if the Jedi, well, no, I mean, I'm not saying it would really work, but if you were a guy, if you were Balin and you know that there's all these like Jedi in amber somewhere, for instance, maybe he knows that, maybe he has them. And then but I'm saying and then you were to go and you were able to stop people from dying, then your order would, like, if everybody had the Palpatine power in your order and they were Jedi, because like the Jedi itself, if they had that power, wouldn't have fallen.
Something far greater than has ever been seen before. And something that can
I disagree with you guys.
Immortality.
I don't think Balin wants to be immortal. I think when he says he's seeking the beginning, I think we're closer with the Wills theory.
Yeah. Thank you, Meg. Yes.
I just see the problem with if the Wills was a concept that worked, George Lucas would have used it.
He did.
He didn't use it.
Well, he
didn't use it. He didn't really. He had 6 films to use it, and it's never even brought up. Yeah. And in those films, it's just like some backstory trash he through into like the novel at one point.
Clone Wars season 6.
Yeah, but you end up with something that you can tell, but you can't really show.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
With it, that's the problem.
We're going to find out a lot more on Tuesday, because I think Tuesday they're going to tell us.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I love if they found a way to do it. Don't get me wrong.
What Balin is after. Whether we get to see what he's after, I think we're going to learn more about what he's after.
I know that will happen, because I believe I know the bad guy's end sequence.
Yeah.
And in that, he was in it, though. He was there. Yeah. And that's why I'm a little bit weird like that. He like goes off on his own like thing. I'm like, does he not come back now? Like, what is going on? You know?
Well, it could be tied to whatever he is seeking, searching, whatever could be tied to why Ahsoka and or Sabine don't come back either.
Well, right? And also don't forget that Shin was like, ooh, girl Jedi power party. I want to go there and not hang out with these old crusty white guy and an old blue guy. She was thinking about it. She was like, "Oh,
Yeah."
So
No,
I think she will go good. I think they're gonna do a Ventress story with her in live action because the live action audience has never had a Ventress story.
So let's get
Jason,
back.
here's my final Balin theory. This
Okay.
is what I hand on heart think is happening. And you
Okay.
can say I'm wrong, we'll find out on Tuesday.
Okay.
Balin is being called by Palpatine's life essence
Mhm.
as the first vessel to try and harbor his spirit.
Mhm.
I honestly, hands on heart, think they're not going to overcomplicate this. I know, like people say, Filoni's trying to do this or that to the sequels. He's following them. We've had so many sequel tie-ins already in this show, and I can't help but feel that's exactly what they're trying to do. Just
So
expand that story.
if they were doing that, what I would do is I would have Balin go to this place and then that's where he finds original Snoke. And then original
Yes.
Snoke ends up being cloned to make Palpatine later. That's what I would do personally.
So, just to wrap up this little bit with the story from the direct and Morgan Elsbeth, if somebody dies, who's gonna die? Not Balin, not Shin, not Ahsoka, Sabine, Ezra, not Thrawn. Morgan Elsbeth could die in the battle with Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody dies, my money goes on Morgan Elsbeth dying by Ahsoka's hand.
Yeah, because I know I believe he has witches at the end, but I don't know that it's Morgan Elsbeth is one of them for sure by the end.
Are you sure it's witches at the end and not bitches at the end?
Ooh. I'll have to check my notes, Meg.
So
I think Morgan Elsbeth will die and then she'll be resurrected by the Night Mothers.
Oh.
They've created a character that basically can't die.
It could be true. Could be true.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, and if they had a way, I don't think they had the time to do it. But if they had in a different climate, they could have had Balin killed. They could have resurrected Balin, and when they did, put him in makeup, make him look like a little like zombie-ish, a little blue, and then had another actor play it, the cadaver of him,
Yeah. So, and I agree. Morgan's an easily disposable character. I agree. I got another thing from Matt Risman sent this to me, and it comes from your dude. This is Jason's guy.
It's not. I don't know. I don't know him.
Jason, my dude.
I don't want to seem. Yeah, no. Well, I'd say that because I don't want this guy thinking this guy's trying to associate with me and take my stuff. I'm not. It's
totally
stuff.
Jason's guy. No.
Yeah.
Kidding. Like, no, but this is the guy. This is the guy that the Reddit leaker that has given us very, very reliable information through the series. He published this.
Oh, wow. So he says Shin and Balin aren't coming back.
Don't pretend this isn't just one of Jason's alt accounts.
No, don't. I don't want this guy getting mad.
Is there really a Best Bin bulletin, or is it just making Star Wars?
That one. I mean,
so two truths and a lie. So there's a lie amongst these three. Which one is the lie? So
the middle one's a lie.
One, Ezra gets a lightsaber modeled by Kanan Jarrus. That would be. Is that a truth or a lie?
So is this where you got what you were saying, Meg, on number 3?
No.
Because yeah. So here's the whole thing is I don't know for certain, but I was under the impression that Shin and Balin were on the last episode and then so I don't know how, and then Ezra getting a lightsaber is one of the things that like he could have it at the very end, like in a post like addendum. Here we go, guys, kind of, and she has it now. That's possible, but that doesn't make sense. He would have a lightsaber considering the climate that we're in at the moment. He doesn't have one. Where's he going to get one?
Well,
and then
I'll tell you how.
Number 3 seems like the most like a given.
It's Hu Yang's welcome home present at the end.
Yeah.
He has the whole thing at the start of the season where Hu Yang identifies Balin's lightsabers, and of course from Clone Wars season 5 we know he's an expert.
Good point.
I don't know if it's like going to be Governor Price's, how Governor Price took Kanan's lightsaber, or if it's like a remodeled one. But I think it's Hu Yang at the end.
If you look at the locker when Ahsoka in this last episode, she goes to the locker and she reaches down there. There's a whole shelf of things in there, and there's several lightsabers that you can see. hanging there. I presume they were training sabers of some sort. There's like the little ball that the training ball that like Luke battled back in New Hope. So there's a whole locker full of things, and amongst them are lightsabers. It's very possible there's something
Some
in
of
there.
Huyang's lightsabers have balls, and some of them don't ignite a saber; they ignite something else. But Ahsoka
I
keeps those private.
I do think Meg's on the like Hu Yang could put together, you take these parts and model it after Kanan's and provide it to Ezra. So of these three, Ezra gets a new lightsaber. Episode 7 was the last time we saw Baylan and Shin. They're not going to be in 8. Or number 3, the 3 witches summon magic for Morgan to fight Ahsoka with. Which one?
I have a
is the
question,
lie?
Santa.
Yeah.
Is it possible the third one is the lie? Because what if they edited the finale? What if they edited all of the Baylan stuff we've heard about? Because I would think if they have no plan for Baylan going forward because Rey unfortunately passed away, I think the way he was left off is the perfect way to leave it.
No.
I think any more scenes would overcomplicate it.
No, I disagree. I think that,
But the third one is exactly what you were saying happens, Meg.
it is exactly what
No,
you said.
the third one.
The witches summon things that fight with Morgan.
Twins.
That's
Yeah, but this is just talking about what is this? Is this talking about? Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry.
it is. It's the same thing you said. So number 3.
Number 3 is what you said.
So number 3 can't be. So that means the lie is probably the episode 7 was the last we hear from Baylan and Shin.
Yeah, unless they edited out his scenes and her scenes, both. You're leaving Baylan and Shin completely out of the finale, which I think is highly, highly unlikely and does not match at all with the leaks that Jason and Bestman have reported and the things that I've heard. Like, that would be shocking and also terrible.
Well, also, I mean, Shin is told to go join the new Empire, so she's gonna extend. She should be there in some way in that next episode, right? So that one's off the table.
It's off the table. Yeah, I think number 2 is the lie. Has to be the lie.
Yeah,
that one has to be the lie. And how tragic would it be to leave some of the last work that Ray Stevenson did that has been so epic, leave it on a cutting room floor for nobody to get to see.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how sad and tragic would that be, and almost disrespectful to his career? It would be terrible. It would be terrible. I'd be very upset if that were the case. So we'll see.
But I mean, just that aside, just never mind that. Let's just say they don't care. Disney doesn't care. They don't. They really honestly don't. I mean, Filoni might care, but Disney doesn't care. And but he tells Shin, go join them. Then we get to the next episode, and then she's not with them. And then there's nothing else that has her going, no, I'm not going to go. I'm going here. Or I'm doing this other thing. That would play very weak. That would be a very weak way of doing it.
Yeah. So we got a super chat. Another one from Garth from some time ago. I left it up because we're getting back to it. It says, was Plagueis a total party guy? He was trashed when Palpy murdered him, right? Yeah, well, he was, and Palpy did it. So Palpatine shows up at his place and says, hey, why don't you have a cup of wine? We're going to celebrate. It's going to be great. And he gets Plagueis to drinking. And then he's like, oh, we finished that bottle. Let's have another. And they finished like
Santa
5.
the wording. Did you say he gets him to drink him?
No, he gets him to drinking.
I heard.
He gets him to drinking. He gets him. So they polish off like 5 bottles of wine or whatever it is, and Plagueis is completely trashed, and then Palpatine goes to leave. He's like, nah, I think I'll just kill him. And he kills him. The end. Plagueis is dead. And that's how the book starts, by the way. The book starts when Plagueis dies, Palpatine wins, and you can just close it there, and you would save yourself reading a couple hundred pages of nonsense. I don't like the book. I don't like
I think you do, because you talk about it a lot.
That's because these people make me do it because they know I hate it. They love to see me suffer, and so that's what that comes from. So,
It'll probably get some new angle and acolyte, I would think, in the big picture. Not that they'll go that far into Phantom Menace, but
perhaps.
Now, you know why, Jason? I'm going to stir the pot here.
Yeah.
Because Leslie Headland thinks that Darth Plagueis is toxic.
She
doesn't want that anywhere near her show. He's
Darth
just toxic.
He's toxic.
Yeah. He keeps, mansplaining and everything.
Yeah.
See what they do? This is what people
I'm
do.
just messing.
I know. You're as bad as they are, man. Bespin released a couple of news stories today, or in the last day or two. So if we go to the old bestbinbulletin.com, we'll read from the bottom toward the top. Well, I actually clicked on this one.
I'm just going to skip the whole article.
No. I want to go back to the story that you and we were all kind of talking about yesterday with the WGA strike ending. What does it mean for Star Wars?
Right.
And if you missed it, go catch Making Star Wars channel from yesterday's live stream. Bespin was on there. They covered the article in detail. I think here we'll just talk about it in summary. The short of it is all of these projects that were on hold should start getting the gears rolling again. The only hang up that has to be addressed at all, which isn't likely to affect anything, is the actor strike. Yeah, because they've got plenty of time between, and you guys talked about this, like between now and next April to work out the actor strike, which would put it over 9 months that it would have been going. If they can work that out in the next several weeks, then nothing else would be impacted once we get things going. So the Rey movie that is in the works, and I think the more pertinent thing to touch base on here again is Filoni's movie. Right. We've been talking about Ahsoka, and Filoni's movie is rumored to be contingent upon a Mandalorian season 4 and perhaps an Ahsoka season 2, or that may not be neither here nor there, but at least a Mandalorian season 4. So you got to get Mandalorian season 4 done, and presumably, if they've pushed, as we've heard, the Skeleton Crew from starting this year to about this time next year or later, then Mandalorian season 4 wouldn't come out till 2025. Would that be about right?
Mandalorian season 4 at a point was likely to end up being a 2025 release. Either way they cut it. Okay.
So you could still end up with a.
It was going to be one of those things where it was going to come out like in the end of 2024. I'm sorry, it was going to be the end of 2024, like in that October area, or they were going to go all the way into 2025 and like that March spot. And I believe it was likely to be the March spot was sort of the consensus that everyone's come to of 2025.
Okay.
That February March window
for Mando 4.
From Mando 4, yeah.
And from everything we've heard about the finale of Ahsoka season 1, that you can't go directly from that to the movie. there's unresolved plot elements that need resolved.
Yes.
Those could be resolved partially in, say, the Skeleton Crew, could partially be resolved, or the rest of it in Mando season 4. Like those are possibilities to resolving the end of Ahsoka season 1.
Right.
But where does that leave us at the end of the day?
I have a question. Is it a good idea to do another Mandalorian season?
They have to, I think. And I think yes.
I wish they'd have just left it at 2.
Well, that's because you're so salty about 3.
I am.
Yeah. I enjoyed 3. I thought 3 was great. And I'm looking forward to 4. So I suppose the answer to that has to do with your receptivity to season 3, right?
Yeah, it's the current thing is kind of weird when you get down to it, because what we're essentially getting is one Star Wars series, and it's an anthology series, and they're cutting the anthology series up and pretending like it's other shows. Like that's what we really have going on here. It's the Clone Wars again, basically, but it's with they're cutting the chapters out. So yeah, that's why I'm like a little bit like Mando 3 really isn't a Mando season 3, but it's part of the same anthology series. That's how I look at it, anyways. Boba Fett.
I see this a little bit discussed with even Ahsoka, that the show is titled Ahsoka, but it's an ensemble cast. It's not just about Ahsoka. You could argue that it's as much about some of these other characters as.
I got a customer.
Yeah, it's Amazon. So so we've got these ensemble casts involved with even Ahsoka. It's arguably just as much about Sabine or Thrawn in some sense as it is Ahsoka. So she's essential to the story, but not certainly the only lead of the show. And the same could be said of Mandalorian season 3. He wasn't, like, Din Djarin wasn't the lead of the show. Arguably, it's an ensemble cast again. All of these shows, all of them, are ensemble casts. Why do we keep naming them? The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett.
Now that you mention it, I forgot Ahsoka was in this show.
Well, what's kind of funny, Santa, is what you just, in a way, you kind of answered a component of the strike. One of the things about the strike was they were mad about this Disney tactic of taking a show and then renaming it, and so that way it's not season 2, and then paying creators and actors less than they were promised on the recurring seasons. So Disney, Marvel, Lucasfilm are set up to literally circumvent that. Oh. So for instance, I'm just making it up. This doesn't really pertain, but Pedro Pascal showing up in Book of Boba Fett. Well, he should have been paid as a season 3 of Mando, but instead he got whatever the rate was for being in the Boba Fett show, and that was a way of not giving him what they had agreed upon. That's how you sidestep your deals. You make it. Oh no, it's not the same show. It's a different show.
But it really is all the same show. Yeah,
like Carson Teva, that actor, for instance. They might have made a deal with him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, every time you're in a season of the show, we're gonna bubble." But when he goes and he does Ahsoka, well, that's season 1. So now he's back to step 1 on a different show, as opposed to it being like his 4th season of Star Wars, 3rd season of Star Wars, whatever it is. Yeah.
Santa, you enjoyed season 3 of Mando, but can you honestly say that after watching, I mean, I love Bo-Katan, don't get me wrong, but can you watch season 2 and genuinely say that the logical progression is to have Bo-Katan be the main character? Because personally, I can't do that.
Let me put it this way. Can I make a connection that season 2 of Mandalorian and season 3 of Mandalorian is the same story? Yes. 100% I can. Easy. That's to me, it's the next step on a path. No problem at all. What I could say that kind of make an argument that season 3, how did you put that?
If these were books, the first season could have been, and the second season could have been told from the first person's perspective of Din. It could have been, I went to Frog Lady's house. I blah, blah, blah. When you get to the third season of The Mandalorian, you could not write that as from first person Din without writing new scenes that are not on screen. So that's one thing I think that it does. There is a narrative divide that does occur between seasons 1 and 2 and 3. But like I said, that's why I'm the real thing is here is we're getting an anthology live action Star Wars series, and it's just being cut up and presented as if it's the Ahsoka series, as if it's the Mando series, and then but then it all accumulates, culminates in this one movie because it's all the same show. But just like that's why Book of Boba Fett all of a sudden has an episode without Boba Fett in it, basically, and it's just Din going to find Luke Skywalker. It's like, why is that in this show?
Yeah, if all of these were titled something else, like Mando 1, 2, 3, Boba Fett.
If this could have been a series called the High Republic War or the New Republic Wars instead of the Clone Wars, and then you would just have all of this, and in 1 week you're like, oh, it's an Ahsoka episode, just like the Clone Wars. It's exactly what's happening to us.
Exactly. And it's really, I think the biggest mistake is naming each of these series differently rather than just having one umbrella for them. Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of the, because they want to build up their IP and the characters. Like they want everybody to know Ahsoka. They want like that kind of stuff. I wish they would just drop it. Like I wish they would just move back to like good titles. Just come up with a good title. And that's why I like Skeleton Crew is still them. I think they're going to call themselves that. But even that's like the best title they've had out of all of this, I think. Like The Mandalorian's just a given. It's just basic. We just called it what it is. And then Book of Boba Fett, they kind of tried. But even the title doesn't make sense to the show. I still don't know why it's called that. It just doesn't. It doesn't
you can't
thematically
convince
connect.
me otherwise that the best Disney Star Wars title was The Last Jedi. It's got so many layers of meaning. Like it's what Yoda called Luke in Return of the Jedi. You're asking, like, are they talking about Luke? Are they talking about Rey?
Yeah.
But then I remember when Jedi Paxis on Reddit did all those leaks, and I remember when Rise of Skywalker leaked as a title, and I was like, that cannot be for real. It was just so fan fiction-y, and then it was. And I don't think we've recovered since then with titles of things.
Yeah, to me, it would have made more sense to had like Astromech Jeremy had there that I had highlighted. Like this is the fall of the New Republic or the rise of the New Republic or the whatever, right? As Jason said, it's the New Republic Wars or whatever, right? You name it, something like that. And then if you have season 1, the Book of Din Djarin, right? Season 2, the whatever. Season 3, the Book of Boba Fett. Season 4, the Book of Ahsoka. Or 5, whatever, right?
And it will probably get categorized like that down the road, like the Skywalker saga. You know what I mean? It will probably end up getting.
It would make more sense, right?
Yeah.
As far as like branding is concerned.
Yeah.
Right? It's one continuous story arc that goes through all of these different shows rather than compartmentalizing them with these titles.
Right.
It would be more helpful. Get back to Bespin's stories. The next one that came just today, September 29th. Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie has not been canceled. A new draft of the script expected to be submitted. This plays right off of what we heard a couple weeks ago. I think Bespin reported that he had submitted like 3 versions of the script already, and due to the writers,
I don't think we know the specific number on that. Just
I think he said 3.
Yeah, if he said that, I don't know if we specifically know that.
Okay,
just saying
some number.
I could be wrong. Bespin could show up and say clarify if he wants, but I don't think. I think what we know, based off the assumptions now, or based off of Snyder has said there's been multiple writers that have worked with them. That means more than Christy Wilson Cairns. We assume that the first draft is Taika and Cairns. Then the second draft, it would be somebody else, according to Snyder. Then we would have a third draft that would be coming. That would be this one that's just Taika by himself. So right there, we have 3 drafts, but we don't know that he submitted 3 drafts. Just saying, and there could have been another writer. So, and then we both heard this thing about the Ted Lasso guy. Talked about it a bit yesterday, and I think he was involved with something, and he heard that he was involved with this. So we do end up with Jason Sudeikis. We do end up with the potential from 3 to 4 drafts, but once again, it's still kind of like. So for all we know, Christy Wilson Cairns, him and 2 other people were all on the same draft at one point. Like, we just don't know. It's unlikely, but it's possible.
Fair enough. I went back and looked real quick, and I didn't see a number there, but some number of drafts have been submitted.
Yeah,
and it seems that another draft is likely soon. Would have been sooner, but the WGA strike stopped things from moving. So. If he picks back up where he left off, finishes that, or maybe he had it ready to submit but then couldn't, whatever the case might be, the next draft is on its way. And let me stay out of a little bit of trouble with Bespin, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, he rightfully hazes me over not reading his articles. I just kind of skim over them. Oh, that's my fault. I normally read them offline and then come back in the show, but in this case, it says yesterday, a reliable journalist, an insider, shared an update on the untitled movie currently being worked on by Taika Waititi, and he says it seems to be a common unfounded rumor that makes its way around every few months that Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie's been canceled. Typically, that rumor originates from the outlets or individuals that don't have great track records. Hence why I never cover them, right? Like, they're unreliable. However, what this usually prompts is a reputable source coming after the fact to give a positive update on the status. And during the latest episode of the John Roca show, whatever, that development.
The Hot Mic.
Yeah, the Hot Mic. The untitled Star Wars movie, which will be led by Daisy Ridley and written by Stephen Knight. Snyder, unfortunately, did not have an update in regards to that movie, meaning hasn't spoke with anybody for some time. However, the question prompted him to briefly touch base on Taika Waititi's flick. Snyder simply shared that Waititi's project is one that has been checking up on, and shared Lucasfilm are expecting a draft, and the film's most certainly not dead. Jeff Snyder's quote says, Taika's movie, I definitely checked in on that. And again, a draft is expected, and it is not dead. Jeff Snyder via the Hot Mic. So there you go. Not dead. Another draft expected anytime. And Bespin does go on to talk about Taika, and he.
Yeah, and we should know that I don't know who reported it or whatever, but whoever did, I mean, all they had to do is just think for a second. How could something be dead when no one can even do anything? Like, until like this week, Taika couldn't even write anything, so he could throw something in them and go, "Oh, you're fired. It's done." You know what I mean? Like, it would. Right. Or and then like the company would have to have done like a reorganization of all of the plans, and the shakeup would be bigger than just Taika's movie being let go, I think. So yeah, weird one to report.
Yeah, and then the last story that Bespin posted this morning. Bespin's honking, "Let me out! I'm in the basement." Says past trailers for Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake are hidden. Right, they were taken down. And announcements and tweets have been deleted. Speculation grows that the game is canceled. The KOTOR remake could be canceled.
Yeah, they should just cancel it.
It says, the trailers have been made private on YouTube. Tweets have been announced. Here's his ask. You guys should. Everybody should support Bespin on Ko-Fi or Patreon. It says the remake was announced back in 2021 during a PlayStation showcase. And it says this announcement delighted many fans and so on and so forth. In July of last year, Jason Schreier broke that the KOTOR remake had been delayed indefinitely due to a shakeup at Aspire Media. And then we keep going. Let's get down here. Bloomberg also reported ahead of the studio shakeups, a demo of the KOTOR remake was presented to Sony and Lucasfilm in May of last year, just over a year old. But the partners weren't too happy with how the development title was coming along. And resources says Aspire was very much unhappy with how much time and resources were put into the demo, and the current course of the development was considered unsustainable. Right? Throwaway code. Nobody wants throwaway code.
Yeah, Bespin. I think it. I don't know if he puts it in this article, but I remember there was stuff about how like the prototype for it from the first company was like super expensive. Like, I don't know, like $100 million or something crazy. And then it was like, so they ended up in a place where as time went on and anything else happened, it was like, oh, well, if it doesn't work out, the game is likely not going to make a profit. And so I don't know anything about it. I don't like the game. I think it's overrated. I don't like the designs. I think they're trash. So I just don't care. And I did care for 5 minutes when I thought, oh, they're going to have, Doug Chang redesigning the era, and then they're going to make it canon, and they're going to like really like bring it into the fold. And then they weren't even doing that. That's when I knew this was going to be some kind of a half-ass attempt at that thing. Because if it was going to be really going to be worth it, it was going to be canon, and it was going to be completely designed like by the filmmakers and so on. And it just doesn't sound like that's what was happening in the big picture. I don't really know, but so it's like, I don't miss it. I'm like, okay, cool. Don't care personally.
Well, as a programmer, right? Somebody who's coded and you get working on a project and the project has a certain data model design and you spend tons of time come up with the data model, and then you start building out that data model and bringing it to fruition. You get the first wave of testing. And if somebody says, no, this is completely wrong, and you have to scrap all the code that you wrote, scrap the data model, start over with a whiteboard like nothing, then you just spent tons and tons of money doing nothing. It's all throwaway code, all of it. And then there's a great video. It's an old one. And again, I watched this because it was part of IT like training program. I won't bore you guys with the details, but it's called The Road to Abilene. And this road to Abilene is basically has to do with you're building a program. You're on this path. And you've traveled so far down the path that you are determined to get to the destination without ever being able to stop and just say no. Right? We've already traveled 700 miles. There's only 200 miles to go. Let's go ahead and finish the trip. But at some point you have to say, no, we're done. We're just going to drop it. And it's a very, very hard decision to make when you're in IT and you've written all this code and not only is your whole data model being reconstructed, but the idea itself is scrapped. And all of that work you did for however many months or years is gone. And the same thing happened without getting into specifics where my wife works. They spent millions and millions of dollars to build out a system. And then they're like, but we need a new system. The old system's untenable. We have to get to a new system. We've spent millions and millions on this new system. We have to implement it. And it's like, no, this new system's not going to work. It doesn't meet our needs. We need to scrap millions of dollars and start over.
Oh, Disney had a thing like that with not necessarily programming, but when they were developing the Magic Band system, I think they spent nearly $1 billion on this Magic Band system, and then it was so not what they wanted and what they were hoping for. They didn't even put it in California. They just put it in Florida, and it's still there, but it's
I've used it. I've
yeah,
used it.
I used it when I was there for the Star Cruiser.
Yeah,
Star Cruiser.
It's a very difficult thing to do, and if KOTOR Remake, this company spent all this money on it, this time, the programmers involved, the coders, the people who have been doing storyboards, who put so much time and effort into it, doing good work. Right? It's not like it's crap work. It's just that you were off target, right?
Yeah, like I think it was Bestman who was saying like the prototype that they had, everyone was happy with. That's what that's why it was pushed forward, but it just pretty much ended up amounting to a trailer and a prototype with no other work having been done.
Oh.
I think that's what Bestman said. You'd have to read his old articles or whatever to like get the because like I said, I don't really follow that one that closely, but it went somewhere like that. And I remember that's when we were like, this one is seeming like it's not going to make it, based off of that.
Yeah, that's terrible. And the conditions could be that the ground underneath is completely moved, and there's just no appetite to do a remake.
Yeah,
and that's gone. And if it's gone, it's gone. Throw it away. Let's move on. Let's move on toward. And I know you had Azatru on yesterday, and I had to leave in the middle of the show, but he was talking a lot about the new Jedi, the third installment of the Jedi game, right? And where it might be.
Yeah. Basically, yeah, on the show, he was basically saying that most of the talent, like the main directors and like the director and all that stuff, have all left because they've already kind of set the system in place. But the thing about that one that is the positive sign is that the main writer is still there. The last game is still there. So that's what's good, because if those creators created the infrastructure for what that game is and how it goes, and it's not going to push any new boundaries, and then the writer is able to come in and finish it up, I think we're probably in an okay place. But it's not ideal. And the ideal world is the people who brought us the first two games that we love continue to do the third game, but that's not going to happen. But
right. So that's the news of the week. I've enjoyed talking about Ahsoka. I think there's a lot that we can speculate about. There's some stuff that we know that we're fairly confident is still there, but we don't know what has happened in post-production with the cutting and splicing, and if after Ray Stevenson's death that they've gone back and removed some of his content or not. We don't know. We know we're very hopeful that things will play out well, and they'll recast the character, and we'll move forward. We'll respect the work that Ray did, and but we weren't there, so we don't know. We can't say. I've got a Mike Porter dad joke. We always have to have the Mike Porter dad joke, and this one's a little controversial. It's like this much controversial. He says, "What do you say about Sabine being a skilled Mandalorian plus a Force user?" He says, "Well, it's a Ren situation." Oh, it's a Ren.
No.
A little controversial. Not everybody loves that, right?
Okay, here's my Mike Porter dad joke. What do you call Sabine Wren with some marijuana? The Sabine Wren is too damn high. Oh, come on. Okay, I tried. That was my I tried. The Wren is too damn high joke. Okay, I gave it a joke. I gave it a chance. I'm no Mike Porter. I'm just gonna go.
Meg,
I don't know. I think Sabine's been very enjoyable to watch, and Hera as well. She's turned around, my opinion, a few times, and there's been a couple of things to love.
Did you see her that she has a hickey? I'm not even kidding. Fans found she has a hickey in one shot.
What?
Yeah, Sabine, when she's with Ezra on the thing, and so then the hardcore fans are like, "Oh, they totally made out," but she has like a hickey. The actor who plays Sabine has a hickey on her neck.
No.
And in the scene when they're riding on the like the little wagon, the little ship thing, I saw it. I saw it come up a couple of times this week. It's pretty funny.
No.
It makes sense. I mean, she's been fantasizing about him all these years.
I mean,
And then, you know, the next morning he's like, "Did you get any sleep?" And she's like, "Well, I don't know what she said, but my brain said no."
yeah.
Do you think there's any possibility that in the finale, Sabine's Force abilities manifest?
No, I think Shin is going to be Ahsoka's new apprentice. I think Sabine's done with it.
Or I still love the idea, and I heard it from you first, Meg, is that that Shin is going to be the new take of
Mara Jade.
Mara Jade, and that makes Ezra her.
She would boss Luke Skywalker around. She'd be like, go clean the Jedi Order, go clean it up. And he would
Ezra and Shin, much like we would have seen Luke and.
I don't think Luke could handle it. I don't think, honestly, I'm going to be honest, just be real with you guys. I don't think Luke can handle it. Shin?
We're not saying Luke.
If she's a new Mara Jade, they're gonna go out.
No,
Ezra.
Go out.
No, Ezra's taking the place of Luke.
Oh,
Ezra takes the place of
that's
Luke.
what you're. Oh, okay. See, you didn't say that part.
I did say that.
Okay, I wasn't listening. Sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, if Ezra takes the place of Luke and Shin takes the place of Mara Jade,
Oh, okay.
right? I could see her training with Ezra, but I could also see her being Ahsoka's new Padawan if it plays out that way.
I mean, like it falls into one of those things though at a certain point where you're like, oh yeah, it's just like Heir to the Empire because that was written in text and the scripts for this show were also written in text. You know what I mean? Like every single time there's like a parallel where like, oh, it's Heir to the Empire. I honestly don't think the Heir to the Empire stuff is a thing.
No, it's just
that's where I'm at with it anyway so far.
Well, just borrowing little elements from it here and there, like Mount Tantus is a thing, right?
Yeah, but that's nothing to do with the Heir to the Empire story. That's just naming a mountain.
Sure. If you were to take a female bad guy Force user and turn the female bad guy Force user into a female good guy Force user, that's a Mara Jade story.
Yeah.
You know.
I guess.
It's not like lifting the story over, right?
It's so far apart. It's just, I mean, it has as much to do with the Zaz Ventress at that point as it does Mara Jade, though. I'm just saying.
Sure. So I was just curious if anybody thought that through whatever happens in this finale that Sabine would actually manifest Force powers. I agree with Meg. I think no.
You think no?
I think no. What do you think?
Because I think so. And the reason why I'm going with so is that Ahsoka sucks. She's mean to her. She doesn't believe in her. They kind of put her down. They are not allowing her to grow, but with the way that they've been to her. And then after we get to the Ahsoka the White phase of things and they meet up, Ahsoka doesn't chastise her when they meet up. Old Ahsoka would have laid into her, would have cut her off and said, "You're irresponsible. I can't trust you. Bye." And that's not what she did. And so I think that's going to end up manifesting itself into a positive side of things for Sabine. Personally, I think that's how it's going to go.
Like it ties to the transition to Ahsoka the White.
Yeah.
Then unlocking the ability to teach her and have her,
because of all of that legacy stuff that they've laid out. If they go and they make it like it cheapens it if Sabine is a part of this legacy, and that's what they literally gave us a moment to say she is. Sabine is a part of this legacy now, and then go, I quit. I don't got it. Bye, or whatever. So I think it's should happen, but at the same time, there was that whole thing of she's picks up the Mandalorian stuff and is better at it, but they removed her helmet from her and didn't give it back to her. So I think that's also symbolic. So if she puts the helmet back on, then I'm going to change my mind.
Okay. All right. Anything else, you guys? before we call it a day?
I think we did it, Meg. Did we do it, Meg?
We did it.
We did it. We did
It's
it.
been done.
Let me one final question, and we will call it. How excited, or nervous, or trepidatious are you for the finale of Ahsoka?
I'm so excited, like more excited than any show. Because I think they'll do something cool. And I'm not expecting something crazy. I'm not expecting the world from this episode, but it's been a fun ride. What about you, Jason?
Yeah, I'm like super excited. I'm actually like kind of bummed in a weird way. I'm as excited as I am bummed because if what we're hearing is going to be the final plan for Disney Plus, you should cancel if you're only on Disney Plus for the Star Wars content, new Star Wars content specifically, we're going to want to cancel after this episode. And there's not, because it's going to be a drought. And like, so that's what, so I'm both excited and bummed that we're going to go into this couple of months at least without anything.
But Jason, your favorite show, Young Jedi Adventures, is still on.
Yeah. I tried to watch that for 10 minutes, and that show is insulting to kids. I showed my kids. My kids are like, this is dumb. So I know 2 kids. They said it's dumb. I think it's dumb. To me, it's dumb.
They watch Paw Patrol?
No, Paw Patrol sucks.
Yeah, well, see, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are 3 projects next year that we're expecting to see, right?
Yeah.
Bad Batch season 3, the finale.
There's 4. There's 4.
4. Yeah, 4. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Tales of the Jedi season 2.
Oh yeah, the final season of the Bad Batch, the Acolyte, and Skeleton Crew.
Yeah. And Skeleton Crew cannot happen this year now. It has missed its window. Like, I'm just saying, like, the strike is over. It was supposed to come out, and like it can't make that window now. You can't go buy bus ads for it at this point and have it come out this year. So with just that knowledge, we know it's next year for sure.
Yeah.
And Bespin Bulletin has a good article about it that people should read too. Specifically that article, actually.
So those are 3 projects we're expecting next year. Anything else on the radar for next year?
Tales of the Jedi season 2.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
But if they haven't started production on that, I don't see it happening.
Maybe another Visions.
Yeah,
there is a Visions. There is, but we don't know if it'll make it in the. We don't know if it'll make it in the year. That's the only thing with that one. Because it's the animation stuff. It's always a hard read. But taking the animation stuff off the table, just the live action stuff, Acolyte, Skeleton Crew, and what do you call it? What's that other one? Andor are the ones that will be out, but it's going to be a little bit of time here.
Did they finish Andor? Like, I know they finished Acolyte, right?
Andor has like 2 weeks of filming left. But I also am of the opinion that I don't know how much money and power Gilroy has with Andor in season 2 specifically, but he had to skip out on a lot of that. And I'm wondering if it's going to be like they had 2 weeks to film just to finish, but if it's going to be like 2 months because pickups and things that like didn't work, if he has that ability because he was removed from the project. So I have to think that like, unless they were ultra prepared, which they could have been, but if they weren't, there may be, 2 weeks to 2 months worth of filming.
Yeah, there's still sets to reconstruct and all kinds of other stuff, right? Like,
some of the stuff just was kept up. So
I guess the question is, what do we talk about in our streams?
What's bailing after? Because it won't tell us, and then we'll just be talking about it for the whole year.
We'll know a little bit. Khonshu, it's a 10 Canadian super chat. Thank you for that, Khonshu. Says, I agree with Jason. It'd be nonsense to go through all of everyone has the Force and not finish this off, not to get the payoff with Sabine materializing it, right? Says, I hope they move away from it's a bad storyline for me. I hope they move away from it.
Yeah. See that like that concept has been here the whole entire time. People took midi-chlorians and misconstrued it to mean a very simplistic thing, which is the midi-chlorians mean that's how much force you could have. And that's never, it was always the ramifications. It was always something, it was to be the original idea behind midi-chlorians was if you had it, it meant you were using the force. If you were using the force, you were dead in the Imperial era. So they gave you if they tested you, then you came up positive, then they would kill you. And that's where the original concept was going. But down to everybody in Star Wars, I mean, like Filoni has always said it, Lucas has always said it, Filoni's also said everybody uses the Force, they just use it differently. Han Solo uses it when he's flying, so does Poe Dameron, so does Hera. They're all tapping into the same thing. The difference is some people have a more natural ability. Look at like Jason Syndulla. That kid's just out. I'm hearing stuff in the waves, bro. Like, so that's a good candidate to send to Jedi College. Sabine wouldn't get it, would be at the City College. She wouldn't make it into the she'd be a state school Jedi College. Whereas that kid would be going to Yale. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. Like that's how it would be. And so it always opens up the possibility that anybody can be a hero. So it's an important thing that anybody can be like the savior of the galaxy. It opens more doors than closes them for storytelling potential. But I am with you that when you go through and you have like a whole cartoon series with several seasons and the hints at her being a Force thing, it's like they weren't doing that. They weren't doing that. That in that show, it was just so superficial. Well, it was like they're allowed to do it because of being non-specific in the other tellings.
So here we go. Yeah. We have a topic. The question was,
for the next year,
talk about when this is all over. We'll talk about who can use the Force and all of that. That'll be
okay.
But and I've got this huge box to open. Is
that my Bix Love doll?
No.
Did they send it? Oh.
No. So we'll do stuff like that. And over on my Patreon, we'll get into some more books. I'll let them pick the book that we're going to read.
Plagueis. Everybody just keep saying Plagueis. say Plagueis again.
No, not again. I'll say go play it again. It's on the
Plagueis
Patreon.
Redux.
Just do it without the voiceover. No.
Do it all in character this time as Plagueis Santa. Okay, now do it all as Santa Claus. Let's do it again.
No. You're evil, Jason. Now they'll do it. Now that's what they're going to say. So yeah, we'll talk about whatever news breaks, whatever Bespin and Jason can dig up, and we'll talk about things like who can use the Force. What is it that Baylan's after? Or what are the implications that we have learned about what Baylan's after? How is this going to resolve off of the end of Ahsoka season 1? There's going to be so many questions that are going to have people like, wait, we didn't get answers. So that's going to make certain people very angry. This person down here. This person down here is going to make this person very angry because they're going to answer a daggone thing and she's going to be mad. So there's going to be that. But so we could talk about that. We could talk about how mad Nikki is. Maybe that. I don't know. We'll find things to talk about. It'll be a lot of fun. We're just friends who like to hang out and talk about Star Wars. So we'll do that. Right. So thank you all for joining me today. I hope you all have a wonderful day, a great weekend. Have a fantastic weekend, my friends. And we'll do that next time. All right. Until then, everybody, Merry Christmas. And may the Force be with you always. Bye-bye.